Legion, it's Hadrian. Thank you for being here and welcome back to Strategy School in Civilization 6 Rise and Fall. This episode is going to focus on religion specifically, and even more specifically, we're going to talk about founding a religion. Religion is a complex topic, and there's all sorts of different aspects. We've got religious units, religious combat, spreading your religion, enhancing your religion. So for now, we're just going to talk about how you start one and what they basically are. We're also going to talk about great people and earning great people in this episode, because that's actually been happening throughout the series. And earlier on, I mentioned that I was making certain decisions based on a desire to get to this point, but I didn't explain it. I said, let's kick that can downfield and learn about that at the opportune moment. And we have arrived at the opportune moment. So let's talk about religion and great people this episode. Religion first. Religions can only be founded after you have built up enough faith to start a pantheon, first and foremost. We, of course, have founded a pantheon already. We went with fertility rights, so all of our growth rates in our cities are 10% better. We went for that, again, because we're trying to create an experience with this playthrough that isn't too different from the average civilization, so that any civilization you play as while you're learning the game will play as similarly as possible to how this is going. So I thought that one, even though that might not be the choice that I typically make from a strategic standpoint, would be the best way to ensure that we get that kind of playthrough. It's a very straightforward, just 10% growth bonus, and it's not going to give us like a big science bias or culture bias or anything like that. But one important thing about pantheons that I wanted to mention as I start this religion episode in Civilization 6 that's different from Civilization 5. When you found a religion, or when another religion comes and takes over your territory, you keep your pantheon. Your pantheon is automatically established in all of your cities, and you keep it until the end of the game regardless of other religious influences. Just be aware of that. Pantheon bonuses will also stack, of course, with whatever religious bonuses you decide to pursue, or whatever religious bonuses make their way into your territory by way of other religions coming in. So the first thing you should know is that there are only so many religions allowed, and it depends on the map size. So if you're playing on a dual map, it's 2, tiny map is 3, small map is 4, standard is 5, large is 6, and huge is 7. It's half of the default number of players for the map size plus 1. So when we go up to the religion tab here, notice that a religion has already been founded. It's Taoism, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on. But this has been founded by an unmet player in an unknown city. So one of our 4 religions, because we are playing on a small map, has been founded already. And that's fine. They probably built Stonehenge, which is one of the ways that you can get a religion early on in Civilization 6. We went the route of using holy sites, or a holy site, in order to pursue a religion, and it has worked out for us. But you do have a limited number of religions available, so really gunning for a religion early on, especially when you're playing at higher difficulty and you need every little bonus you can get, is important. Religions are a way to expand upon your civilization-specific bonuses while adding another way that you can clash with other civilizations, and even another way that you can win the game. It's a different victory type. We haven't talked about victory types just yet. We'll probably get to that within another 10... we'll see. Victory types aren't necessarily something we need to talk about in the beginning of the tutorial, and I still feel like we're kind of in the beginning-ish. But that's the basic explanation of what a religion is. It's a way to expand upon your bonuses. So religions are obtained by earning great profits. Now we're going to talk about earning great people in just a second, but for now I'm just going to point out that there are 2 ways to get one of the great profits before they're all gone. Again, you can have Stonehenge, or you can do holy sites with shrines, which is what we did. Or there is actually a third way depending on if you're playing as a specific civilization, and there might be other ways in the future. But as of, what is it now, August? Yeah, August 2018, you can play as Arabia, and you will always get the last great prophet, which is, of course, a reference to the Prophet Muhammad. So if you're playing as Arabia, the last one will always go to you automatically. Great prophets will no longer spawn for your civilization after you have earned one. It might sound like a no-brainer, but just so you know, there's no function to a great prophet other than founding a religion. Once you have a great prophet, you can navigate them to the nearest holy site and found your religion. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to come back to the screen in a moment. For now, I'm just going to recruit Siddhartha Gautama. Now, just because it's Siddhartha, some of you who might be familiar with the actual person, we're not... This is the Buddha. Like, just because we got Siddhartha doesn't mean that we are going to have to found Buddhism. That's just the great person that founded a religion. So they all are named after a certain person in history. For instance, if you go back to the Great People screen, the next great prophet is Zoroaster. Zoroastrianism, okay? So Zoroastrianism would be Zoroastrianism, there we go, would be slightly more historically accurate as a great person for Sumer. But again, we can use Siddhartha to found Zoroastrianism if we wanted to, which is kind of weird when you think about it, because we're using the Buddha to found. Anyway, you know what I mean. But I just don't want you to feel like that's going to constrain you. It will not. So notice that it's highlighting the holy sites, encouraging us to go that direction. The found religion button, which only works when you're on a holy site or Stonehenge, is grayed out, but not anymore. Let's found the religion. Great person's been activated, and now we have the option to choose a religion. Let's take a look at this next screen. So there are a couple of things you can customize right off the bat. If you go with one of the world's core religions, like a historically accurate religion, you can't choose the name. So there's obviously lots of choices. And there are some mods available which allow you to have even more choices. But once you get to this point, there are several custom icons, and you can choose a name and an icon. We are going to go, let's be, with what I was saying a moment ago, let's go with Zoroastrianism. We're going to confirm that. And now we have the option of our founder beliefs. So how does this belief system work? First of all, let me explain that religions are different from pantheon beliefs in that you have to purposefully spread your religion between your cities. And you can also spread your religion to the cities of other empires. This means that when you set up a religion, you not only choose the bonuses you get, but some of the bonuses that will apply to cities that follow your religion in other empires. This doesn't apply to this initial belief. This is called the founder belief. This icon is a one-time choice, and this will only apply to your civilization. The game doesn't do a good job of explaining this, but only your civilization, because you're the founder, will get this bonus. But the beliefs you choose subsequently will apply to all civilizations that follow them, which is good to know. So let's go ahead and choose this first one, then I'll talk about more about the other types of beliefs. What I typically go for is Jesuit education. You can purchase campus and theater square district buildings with faith, which is a really, really nice way to use your faith to bolster your science and culture progress. Because you think about it, you're using one of your yields to actually help your progress in another. So you're starting to see some interaction between the yields here in ways that you can have the different aspects of gameplay work together. Also, Zen meditation is pretty nice, +1 amenity in cities with 2 specialty districts. So as cities build up, it just helps to have the amenities in place automatically, and having Zen meditation would provide that. Shrines and temples each provide +1 housing, so that'll help with city growth. Now, that can bolster the fact, since I have a city growth rate bonus, this could be good. This could help counter the fact that I have this growth rate bonus, so this can kind of work in concert. I think I might actually go for religious community with that in mind. Let's do that so that we don't run into issues too quickly. I will have to build holy sites and shrines and temples in order to really benefit from that. But there is our founder belief, religious community. There are, of course, other options. By the way, beliefs can only be chosen once. Once one belief has been claimed, it's like Pantheon beliefs. This is exactly the same, actually, as Pantheon beliefs. Once one has been claimed by a civilization, another civ cannot choose that belief, even from among the founder beliefs. So now we have the option of the worship beliefs. Now, there are other icons as well. The worship beliefs are the prayer icon, and these, as you can see, all are associated with certain types of worship buildings. And then there are the follower beliefs, which is the scripture icon. And these all apply to, these are basically per follower type of bonuses. And then down here we have enhancer beliefs, and we can choose from any of these. Enhancer beliefs just give you certain types of bonuses to maybe the spread of your religion or otherwise. Now, what I typically go for, you can go for any of these. And what you should know as you choose these, and this is something that it took me a while to learn. I actually had it explained to me while I was doing a Civilization 6 Let's Play on the channel a while back. You can only have one from each of these categories. So these icons are meaningful. So you can only have one follower belief, or this is a worship belief. You can only have one worshiper belief. You can have one follower belief. You can have one enhancement belief, and that's it. So these choices are meaningful in that you can have one of each of the 4 by the time you've fully improved your religion. Right now we're just choosing 2. But once I've picked one of these, I will no longer have the option to choose an enhancer belief ever again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. So just be aware of that. I think what I would like to do, religious colonization sounds fun. Cities start with this religion in place if founded by a player who has this as their majority religion. So it basically turns it into a pantheon in a way. even though you still have to spread the religion otherwise. Pantheons don't spread in that way. But I think I'm going to go for... Let's go for a follower belief right away. I don't typically do this, but I'm trying to mix things up a little bit. We could go for a worship belief too, but I mean, the world is our oyster. We have all these options. So tithe provides +1 gold for every 4 followers of this religion. So this is good if you're playing wide, because if you're just going to control a bunch of territory, or if your religion is going to, control a bunch of territory, then you will have a ton of gold. Or if you're playing tall with your religion, you can get +2 gold for each city following this religion. So you get a set amount, but it's per city, not per citizen. So a couple of different gold bonuses there. Stewardship provides a gold and science bonus. Lay ministry provides a faith and culture bonus. Papal primacy, when you send an envoy to a city-state, it adds 200 religious pressure to that city-state, which is huge. We'll talk about religious pressure in a later episode. Tell you what, let's go with tithe. +1 gold for every 4 followers of this religion. And now we're going to found Zoroastrianism. Obviously, its holy city is Uruk, so that's going to particularly affect how strong the spread of Zoroastrianism is. And we'll talk about, again, religious spread in a subsequent video. But now that that has been founded, I want to talk a little bit. Our progress towards theology has advanced considerably because we founded the religion. Very nice. We were not the first religion, but we did get a historic moment for that. 2 more era score. We'll be talking about that in the next video, finally. It's finally time to talk about the historic moments, the history timeline, and how ages work in Civilization 6. But for now, let's wrap up by talking about great people. Before I say this, we might be getting to a point where you're starting to feel a little overwhelmed. Just remember that at the end of everything, Civilization 6 is about playing the yield game to win the way that you want to win. If we're talking about all these different bonuses and great people and religions and all these things, it might start to sound like a little much. At the end of the day, it's all just different ways to interact with these numbers. Your yields for each tile and your empire-wide yields. And whoever does the best job of that wins the game. It's really that simple. And the complex part of it is just how these different factors interact with one another, and that can be daunting to learn. But when it comes to great people, it's a very straightforward concept. Great people are yield-specific, usually, unique units that provide your civilization with temporary or permanent bonuses that can affect your yields. They can be transferred instantly between cities, as I mentioned when I was talking about traders. Or some can be transferred between specific district types. So, great people are earned with great person points, and I want to talk about this by jumping up here to the great people screen and finally talking about it. One thing I'll also note is these are earned in order. Once one has been earned, that great person is yours, and the next will begin to be earned at that point. So, obviously we can't earn another great prophet, but we are a good ways toward earning the first great scientist, who is Hypatia from the classical era. There have currently only been 2 great prophets recruited, so Hypatia will be the first great scientist recruited. And as you can see, we're 15 great scientists of 40 points per turn along the way. And you can point to each player and see what their per turn generation is, so you can kind of see who your competition is. It's good to keep an eye not only on what kind of benefits you'll get from great people, but also how close the other players are. Great person points are a type of empire-wide yield, okay? So this is very straightforward. We have 1 per turn. Where is that coming from, you might be wondering? Well, we have a campus district, right? And in that campus district, let's go ahead and pull up Uruk's city details so that you can just see this very straightforwardly. That campus district is providing 1 great scientist point per turn in the same way that our holy site provided 1 great prophet point per turn and help us earn our great prophet over a course of, I guess it would have been 40 turns. And look, it's turn 40. We didn't No, that doesn't make sense. Where did those 40 points come from? Okay, I've backed myself into a corner. Let's look at this first. 1 great prophet point per turn. Of course, that's what it is. So this campus actually doesn't have a library yet. That's where I was backing myself into a corner. So actually, we were producing 2 great prophet points per turn. It took us 20 turns because we had the holy site and the shrine providing a great profit point. The campus, however, doesn't have a library yet. It will soon, which will improve our ability and almost guarantee that we get Hypatia, which is pretty cool. So every great person, let's go back to that screen now, has a specific type of bonus. We can't recruit a great admiral yet because we don't have any harbor districts set up, I don't believe. I think that's what it is. There it is. You must have a coastal city center or a harbor district in order to spawn a great admiral. There you go. So you don't have to have a city on the coast in Civilization 6. We'll see this soon. To have a harbor district. That's one of the benefits of having the district system. But you do need one of those in order to recruit a great admiral. So it's exactly what I thought. So each great person, as you might already be guessing, can only be earned once, and they each have unique benefits. So there's merit to chasing specific people throughout the game. If you really like Hypatia, I mean, Hypatia is pretty nice. Libraries provide +1 science, and she instantly builds a library in this district. So if you're being clever, you can say, well, I'm not going to waste production time on a library. I'm cool with waiting until I get Hypatia, and then I'll get my library for free, and I can use that production time to build something else instead. Right? So really paying attention to the screen and seeing which great people you might be able to earn first can help you a lot. Great merchants, we of course are not earning yet. Neither are we earning great engineers because we don't have the right district types. These great people are culture-based. They're great writers, great artists, and great musicians, and they help create great works, which will help later on. And that's a whole nother topic on top of great people that we will talk about. So each subsequent, I will point this out as well, each subsequent great person requires twice as many great person points as the previous. So in the case of Zoroaster, you know something? I'm realizing that... It might have just been 20 to earn the first great prophet. I think it was 40 though. You'll have to go back and look at previous episodes where I flashed this screen, but typically speaking, it might be different for great prophets perhaps, but typically speaking, each great person will require twice the great person points that the previous great person required. So for instance, let's just take everything I've just told you and look at a particular slot for someone we're not recruiting yet. A great engineer requires great engineer points. You can get those from industrial districts and industrial buildings. So what we would do if we wanted to have multiple ones of those is either get districts built in either one of these cities. It's pretty straightforward stuff, right? It's a yield just like anything else. It's not as obvious and intuitive as perhaps food and production because it's not based on tiles, but it is per city and empire-wide, just like these up here. And that's more or less how earning great people points works. You might have noticed, earn them in an additional way. And this is especially useful when it's coming down to the wire and you feel like you're in competition for a great person with another player. And there are some AIs that are designed to make you chase particular great people. You can use gold or faith, and these numbers get smaller and smaller the closer and closer you are to earning the great person. So you can, if you've built up a good amount of faith or gold, you can use this to kind of jump the gun and finish the great person, have them available immediately. As soon as you click one of these buttons, they will become yours that moment. You don't have to wait till the next turn, they're yours. And you can sometimes beat a player that's otherwise going to beat you to a great person that way. It's pretty handy to know when you're going to need to do that. So keep an eye on the great person screen when you can. The most common sources of great person points, again, are districts in buildings specifically in districts. And also there are policies available. Let's take a quick look at the government screen and view policies. Remember that we have the Strategos wildcard policy available at the moment. We don't have a wildcard slot, so we can't use it, but this provides +2 great general points per turn. This is one of the only ways to really guarantee that you're working towards great generals early in the game. So be mindful of that as well. Much like loyalty, I really encourage you to be mindful in general and pay attention to the different ways you can earn great person points as you progress through the game, the ways that you can add to those totals. So let's do just a little bit here as we end this episode, and then I am going to finish up, and we're going to talk about age transitions, golden ages, dark ages, etc. in the next episode. So this settler is ready to move to the spot where I was going to put them. Let's get them in place. Germany's not going to like this one little bit, but they're going to have to deal. This scout needs to get away from that barbarian. We're going to make sure they stay safe. We'll have that warrior fortify there. We'll have this scout... Yeah, let's have you heal for a second. Cleopatra's looking around. Now, there was a goody hut down here, I want to say. Or was there not? I might be thinking of another game. Okay. Oh, you know what it was? I think 2 episodes ago, I was scouting a little bit differently when I was doing a first run at an episode. I wasn't recording yet, and there was a goody hut. But I haven't discovered it yet. If it's still there, it's somewhere down here. Okay. So that's that. We're going to go to the next turn. And it is finally time to enter. Come on, barbarians. There we go. The classical era. Okay, so with that being done, in the beginning of the next episode, we are going to talk about the Rise and Fall specific systems that were added to make ages more interesting. Again, Golden Ages, Dark Ages, even Heroic Ages. We're all going to cover that in the next episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to follow along. New episodes are coming out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.